Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's continue the third layer of products feature, which is presentation layer. Inside the presentation layer, we have already defined the screen and components. And let's go to the screen, a new file. It's gonna be product detail screen. The user is gonna navigate to the product detail screen. Basically, it's gonna be the container. And you have the layout as shown here, justify center, padding bottom equal 10. It's gonna be the sheet. I need to customize this product sheet, rounded, elevation, 8 surface color. We are trying to load the products. We need to show a loading indicator. So this is what we're gonna do here. So VF, we're going to display some loading indicator. And in Vuetify, there is something called skeleton. So in components, I'm going to create a new skeleton loader that's going to respect the layout of this components. I'm going to call it product skeleton loader. So this is the product skeleton loader. You can find how to define skeletons in Vuetify in the official website. So I'm going to use it here. So when loading skeleton loader, otherwise, so VElse, we're going to show the detail of products. So now our page is ready. Products could be nullable. So we're going to test this, but beforehand, we need to define our state manager. In the product store, let's define all what we gotta need in this application when it comes to our product. So first of all, the product, which is the detail of our product, indicator that's going to indicate if the page is loading or not, is page loading. We have to include a carousel, so it's going to be carousel index, and we have search query, initialize the product to null, is page loading false, carousel index, it's going to be 0. So the first method that's going to do is load product. So it's going to be an async function, load product, name it parameters, the ID of the product. Whenever we have an error, what we have to do, first of all, is page loading equal true. It is a read-only property. I'm going to do this, and patch is page loading equal true. Next, I'm going to destruct the object's parameters. Next, we'll surround the block with try catch because our method perhaps going to throw from the API an error. So here we go. I'm going to show you the use case. So right now we have to inject the use case, and there is no decorator or annotation to inject the use case. Unfortunately, the possibility to use @inject the action or in the objects. So container, because we have the container, we're going to get the service, which is product use cases. To access the service, we need to provide the identifier product use cases. Now it's going to be very easy for us to use or to invoke the method getProduct. Product. It's going to be await, and we're going to do getProduct, and we can safely use getProduct when we have to provide the ID. Without this helper function, we cannot run this. When you try to run the code, it's going to give you an error, even a compile error. Right now, this get method is invocable, as you can see, and we got the product. Title of this page is going to be the product.title. We have right now the product, and we're going to set is page loading to false. If we got any error, and if the error of type or the instance of this error is API error, we will show on error. We don't care about the other errors, but if it is the API error, we're going to show the error. So let's come back to the screen. We're going to just call it store, use product store, and on mounted, we will run the function. Just going to name it product store and load product. In parameter, we have the ID from the navigation. So in order to do so, we're going to use here const route equal use route, and here we will do route.params. We're going to access the ID. It's going to be as string to integer, parse integer, and we have to provide the onError function. So when here you are free to do whatever you like. When you have an error, you can redirect the user to page 404 if the status code is 404, but what we have done here is not enough because this error handler here is so is so minimal and is so poor, so it's not gonna handle all the needed exceptions. So just for me, I found it convenient. I'm just gonna use the snack bar controller, and I'm gonna show a normal message: set severity, error, set content, message, and the message has a property that's called text. So I'm gonna do set content props text equal. I'm gonna just hard code this. You can just, which is not good, but anyway, an error occurred when loading data. We can just keep it at that. All right. So if you want to, again, keep it consistent with the other applications that we will build, it's a good practice to maintain the same error. Set content, and we're going to show the snack bar. The most important thing is here going to do product store does is page loading. If the product is null or is not null, so VF product store dot product, and inside the first column it's gonna be a carousel. The carousel is a predefined component, and for the second row it's gonna have the details of our product. So this is the second column: product title, price, the description, category of the product. At the bottom, we're going to do a button that's going to allow the user, of course, to add a product to the wish list and to remove the product from wish list. I'm just going to prepare this in advance so we can implement it later on. Wishlist button icon. I'm going to add a computed property. Wishlist button icon. It's going to be a computed property. Why I declare it a computed property? Because I'm going to test if the product is in the wish list of the current user. So I'm not going to do this right now because it's going to need the authentication. It's going to need another feature. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to assign it for the time being return material design icon and the heart plus. The other one, which is the wishlist button label. So if the product is in the wishlist, it's going to show remove from wishlist. And if the product is not in the wishlist, it's going to show add to wishlist. And for the time being, I'm going to return the string add to wishlist. And I'm going to declare another function. It's going to be called onToggle wishlist. Of course, we need here the product's ID. It's not going to be implemented yet. So let's assign this here. So prepend icon, it's going to be the wishlist icon. And for the label, it's going to be wishlist label and on click on toggle wishlist. So that's pretty much it for the screen so far. We have forgot actually the styling of our screen. So for the product sheet, it's going to have 75% of the viewport width, and it's going to vary from a screen width to another. So for the large 75, for the medium 85, and for the so it's going to get bigger because if we keep it as normal width, it's going to be so huge and it's going to expand on the viewport width. So we don't want to do this. So this is basically my customization for this page. So I guess that's pretty much it. I have seen so there is some warning here because we are not using this parameter, so which is fine. The last screen in this feature, it's going to be for the results whenever the user is searching for a query or for a product and clicking on the button search, it's going to redirect the user to this particular page. So I'm going to call it product search result screen. And before that, we need to come back to the store and let's implement the necessary methods and states. So first of all, what do we need here? We need actually the list of products. Add another state, it's going to be read only. I'm going to call it pagination response of type pagination response. And the type, it's going to be products preview or undefined. And we need the current page to access the current page when searching. Pagination response is going to be null or undefined. For the current page, it's going to be 1. So because we are dealing with pagination response, we need to briefly access the product. So you can access the products within the pagination response, but I'm going to define a getter here, which is the main objective or for declaring getters here in Pinia. So you can simplify and make it easy for yourself. So product preview, it's going to give us the products from the pagination response. It's going to return. So if it's null or if it's undefined, it's going to give us an empty array. Otherwise, it will return pagination response and data. This is a computed property. So whenever the pagination response changes, the product's computed property is going to change. We need to access actually the pagination count so we can do some guards whenever we try to go to the next page. It will return pagination response if it's not undefined, last page, otherwise 1. Now let's implement the method that's going to allow the user to paginate throughout the available products. And as I said before, I like to use named parameter for readability purposes. I'm gonna call it on pagination error. Let's set the loading indicator to true. We will surround this block again with try catch. With the same thing here, this instance is API error params.error. You can make it optional, but I'm going to make it mandatory. So as usual, I'm gonna just pick it from here. So I'm gonna call it pagination data, await, and use cases. It's gonna be search. Perhaps I'm gonna do here search product, and we need to provide the parameters, which is the query. And again, I have to do here another prop, read only search query of type string. It's gonna be null, empty. Provide the search query. And I don't think it's gonna be great to use the search query. I'm gonna define it here as a parameter instead. Search query. I'm gonna remove this. And the guard is gonna be done in the view. Whatever you like. You can make it a guard here for the search query. So you won't have to submit the form if your search query is empty or null. So just a small validation, but anyway, it's gonna be done in Laravel. So even in Laravel, it's not gonna run the function or do anything because the query is empty, but it's gonna consume a little bit of resources in your device. So here I'm gonna do pagination, and the next parameter, it's the current page. We need to destruct the object here, this pagination response equal pagination data. And whenever we are done with running the function, we're gonna do, so is page loading equal false. I'm gonna talk about the skeleton of the page. Basically, this search result is gonna be the same thing as the home screen. So because it's too much stuff, I'm going just to give you the final result. So we need to, first of all, going to check if we are loading the page. If the page is ready, we are going to show the rest, the available products. And I have declared here a product components that I'm going to build now. And we're going to show all the list of the products. If we have no products, we're going to show to the user, sorry, we could not find what you're looking for. And here those are the pages, and pagination is default or predefined components from Vuetify. So we are going to display the list of the page as well as the available pages from the pagination, again, relative to what we have from Laravel. So what do we need here? We need const product store. And we need to declare a function. For now, it's not going to be implemented. Initially, I'm going to do it false. Product is not in wishlist, so I'm going to do false. Once clicking on the Learn More button, it's going to redirect to the product detail that we have done here. And this is the parameter ID that we pass from the router. And we're going to catch this parameter here when calling route params and ID. We need to do here router, and in our constant file of core UI, product detail screen, constant from core UI. So that's pretty much it for the screen. But now we need to deal with the product card. So we need to build the product card, and it's gonna consist of card. So the main idea here is whenever we're going to hover over this component, we're going to show button as well as the toggle button. I'm going to put here a div that's going to be visible whenever we hover on this div, and it's going to be invisible otherwise. Style for the cursor, it has to be pointer. Position, relative position. When mouse enter, mouse leave. And what's going to be here? So for the product image, it's going to be the image cover. For the height, going to do it 345, for example. And for the source, it's going to be here source. And here it's time to define again the props of this component. Type props. We will need the product to check if the user is authenticated or not, and if the product's in wishlist or not. Define the props here, so I'm gonna call it props. And in Vue.js, if you would like to give a default value to the props, you're not gonna do here something like in wishlist equal false. It's gonna give an error. So what we will do here, there is a function or helper function for, I think it's a macro. It's called with default, and we will define here the props as you normally would, and it's going to be of type props, and you can provide here the default values. So it's authenticated, I'm going to do false by default, and in wishlist it's going to be false by default. All right, so this is the props. Now for the emit, it's going to be defined emit, and we're not going to use any parameter here. So that's why we are using this kind of syntax. So we have two events. The first one on view product, it's going to navigate to the desired product detail. And second one, it's going to be on toggle. So here we're going to declare is visible to control the visibility of the card that we have talked about, or the components to be shown or not. So visible ref initialize. This is the state management in VUE3. When hover, it's going to be visible equal true. When leave, visible equal false. And for the source, it's going to be product props product thumbnail. Otherwise, because it's nullable, we're going to do undefined here. We have to control again here if the user is authenticated. Then we will show the toggle button. Here we're going to use in Vue.js a dynamic style. We need to create a style that's going to show the action or the menu whenever to apply another class when the condition is going to be false. So it has to be in an array by default. So here we're going to call it action menu class. Whenever it's visible, let's call it, for example, visible action menu class, and when it's not visible, hidden action menu class. So I'm going to create here const action menu class. It's going to be reference, and we will define it afterwards. So we're going to call it, for example, product menu action. So let's create the others. Visible action menu, hidden menu. When the user is authenticated, we can show whatever we're going to put here. So just for the sake of this tutorial, it's going to be just only one button. Button here, it's going to be variant, elevated, background surface, and for the density, comfortable. So inside the button, what we will do, an icon that's going to be variable. So we need to declare a computed property holding the style of the icon or the color of the icon. It depends on depending on in wishlist or not in wishlist, and the icon that should be displayed, whether the product is in wishlist and not in wishlist. Before that, I'm going to attach the event on toggle. The type of this button is going to be an icon, which means it's an icon button. For the first computed property, it's going to be wishlist icon color, depending on the value of in wishlist, red. If not in wishlist, going to do secondary. Now with the same logic, wishlist icon, when in wishlist, gonna do MIDI heart, and it's gonna be here outlined. For the color, icon, the wishlist button icon. Now we're going to do the card item. It's gonna be basically the title of our product. Now for the card subtitle, it's gonna be the price, And for the card text, it's going to be the button learn more. So let's do some styling here. So in order to make the product menu, we have to set its position to absolute. And we're going to make it disappear from the frame a little bit at the initial state. The visible menu, the class is going to be applied for menu. So opacity is going to have to be 1, and transform, translate, and translate x0. So it's going to be within the frame or within the products card. So for the hidden menu, instead of opacity equals 1, it has to be 0. And let's make it out of the frame. So the first, it's going to be position relative. Overflow, it's going to be hidden. Opacity, initially, it's going to be 0 because we're going to animate it. And transform, we're going to translate the X position by minus 20. So it's going to be from the left to right. Transition, it's going to be all 0.3 seconds, not so fast. Ease, display flex, and justify content center, align items to center. So whenever the products card is hovered, toggle wrapper. So we're gonna do here opacity to 1, transform X, translate X0, small margin with 8 pixel. The last one, which is toggle show, transition, all and 0.3 seconds, ease. So this is basically our products card. I think we are done. And let's go to the product search. So I'm gonna do product card, and in Vue, you can write the component like this, or you can just do like product card. All right. Now let's go directly to the previews in the sandbox. As I said before, products card preview. First of all, let's import the products card. So let's come back to the parent folder. So within the products feature, I'm going to add here index.typescript. And let's go here. Where is the preview? And let's do product card. And the problem is still products card is not visible. So I think that we have to change something inside the vid or the TypeScript here. And perhaps we have to include the resources, this resources folder. I'm talking about this one. We have to include here as well. So that's what I did, and it's gonna show the product here. So products card, and here we're gonna use it products card, and we need to provide the dependencies. So I'm going to give you some mock data if you want to test with. Let's create here a folder. So we have created helper. So inside helper, I'm going to add the mocked data. So let's come back to the preview. Let's assign the product preview of 0 is authenticated true. The next prop, it's going to be in wishlist. In order to simulate this, I'm going to create here the store, global store. And let's go to use global store and put here in wishlist. And in wishlist is false. Function that's going to be called toggle. So let's come back to the preview. In wishlist equals store in wishlist. On toggle wishlist, it's going to be store.toggle wishlist. And on preview product, a method that's going to write this afterward. Function view product, and it's going to be alert screen. So that's pretty much it. Let's go and run npm run UI previews. So as I have noticed, there is a problem here that said cannot access service identifier before initializing. To solve the problem is it's very nasty actually. So it's the order of the export. It's very important. So you have to export first of all the service identifier, then export the inversifier. So it's not gonna cause a problem. So it's weird. I haven't thought about it, so it took me some time to figure this out. So the products card is here, but I think there is something wrong with the URL. So the host that I'm using right now, it's 192.168.16800. So this is the host, and hopefully it's gonna work. It still doesn't work. I found the issue, and after debugging, here is what you have to do. So first of all, we have done a small mistake or small typo, if you will. So let's go to the web.php. So here, instead of star, you have to do point and star. All right. So you have to update this one. The second mistake that we have done, so let's go to the file system just to make sure. And we have forgot one thing which is very important. In order to access the media, the new disk, here in the environment, we should add media and media disk and media. So this is very important. So after doing that, go to the PHP my admin, go to the application, your database, and navigate to SQL and delete all the images or all the records. So delete the records that we need. It's media, and it's going to be media. Run the query, and instead of media, do products and product. Come back here. So I'm going to close this one and run the seeder. So that's what I did. I refresh the seeder, and do not forget actually in the seeder to preserve original if you want to keep the original images. So after doing that, I was able to access the images. So now let's go back to the helper in the sandbox. So we have in the host. So just make sure here in the Laravel, you run this command. So I'm going to close this, and you run this command, PHP artisan server and serve. So after doing this, just make sure on the environment you are on this one. So I'm going to uncomment this. I guess that's all. So I'm going to run the server, and let's come back here and run npm run UI previews. Here we go. Let's click on learn more. So I don't think it's maps correctly. So let's go to the preview. On preview, oh my god, on view products. So that's great. So now let's toggle, and we can toggle everything. So this is sorry for the inconvenience. So let's come back to the product card. We're going to build two components. It's going to be the search input and the suggestions. So this component is going to use the autocomplete from Vuetify. So let's wrap first of all everything in the class, and it's going to be animated wrapper. And inside we're going to use the autocomplete, and for the items we're going to define the items afterward. We would like to show the loaded indicator when we are performing the search while typing on the text field. So it's going to be loading. Assign the search query. The item text is going to be the title, and the item value, what's going to be displayed on the text field, it's going to be the title property from the object that we will use. And for the item value, it's going to be the ID. So item value, which means that, for example, if we click on the item, it's going to give us the value, which is the value that we are talking about. In this case, we would like to access just the ID in order to navigate to the product with the specific related ID. And the label, search, it's going to be solo. This is a variant. I don't know why they have called it solo. I'm not sure. And density, compact. So I'm going to declare here an interface. Sometimes I love to change a bit. So props, and for the first one, it's going to be the suggestions is loading. So it's going to be the loading indicator when the user is typing, and the search query, that's going to be changed whenever the text change, and we would like to do some action when the search query has changed. So let's create the props. The items, it's going to be props, and suggestions for the loading is loading, or you can just make it is searching, if you will. Search, it's going to be the search query. We would like to add to this search input an append icon, material design magnify, and for the menu icon, I'm going to make it null because I think it's by default they are doing some kind of icon here, so it's going to be null or empty. And the text field is going to be rounded and single lines. Too much props here. It's going to be clearable so that you're going to be able to clear your search input. It's going to return an object, hide no data. Whenever the text is updated, I'm going to run a function. I'm going to hoist this method. So in order to do so, I'm going to create here an emit on search query changed parameter, it's going to be value void. So here we're going to do emit the name of the event to trigger and the value. We would like to trigger an event whenever we click on that icon, another event on search button click. I'm going to do simply here emit search button click. Sorry guys for the interruption, but I ran out of memory of storage, and suddenly the recording cut off. I have built pretty much everything, so I'm going to walk you through what I've done. I think that the video cut off here, so I have built this component. So this is basically the search input. I created search input preview. What I've done here is basically I try to, so I called the search inputs with all its dependencies. And whenever this query changes, I'm going to debounce basically the request and by 500 milliseconds, and I'm going to call the search suggestions. So I have used the debounce function from Lodash in global store, I guess. In global store, I have added two states, one for the suggested products, and one for the search query. And I have assigned, or I have implemented function to set search query, and I have simulated basically what's going to happen when you're going to run the API request. And I run the server to check the previews. So this is the preview search inputs. So the animation works. When I'm going to type, for example, S, I got these suggestions here. So those are the search suggestions or the suggested items. Got the title, the category, and the image. And if we click, for example, the first item, it's going to give us navigation to products 1 sunglasses, and it's going to navigate. That's why it clears the data automatically. And if I do, for example, S and type here, so the search query is gone. And let's say sun, and it's decide to go to the navigation to screen the results. So performing search with query sun. That's pretty much it for today's video. We are done with the product feature. Next, it's gonna be authentication feature. Sorry for the inconvenience. There is a problem actually with Mac. The system files are occupying too much space. Beforehand, I had to go through all the caches and delete them manually. I don't know if I did that correctly or not, so I needed some space. Perhaps I need to invest in another storage. See you in the next video, and happy coding.